Good morning, everyone. So, welcome all of you to the reading comprehension class. So, as I told you, reading comprehension is a general topic in all types of competitive exam. So, you need to uh, crack the topic very well. For this, you need to keep in mind few things. Like first, you need to read the passage very well. Then, if there are like 4 or 5 paragraphs, what you have to do, you have to read the first and last paragraph very well, and you can always read the question first, and then you can search for the answer in the passage. So we have practiced one reading comprehension last day. Just a second. So today we will practice another one. Okay, so I will share the passage in with you. So first we will read the passage, then we will understand the meaning. We will find out some important words. Then we will go to the question section. So this is the passage. And this passage is taken from Hindu. You can see the source is there. And there is some MCQ question there. 10 questions are there. So let's read. Elections were in the era of world's youngest democracy when I arrived on Thimphu. This was for a by-election in the capital city that dominated the conversation at dinners, even in Thimphu's most fun night spot, Moho Park, the best music in town. Okay, so it is a political piece. You can understand that the first line only has started with election. So elections were in the air of the world's youngest democracy when I arrived Thimphu. So the narrator, the author, has arrived in Thimphu. Thimphu is in Bhutan. So there was election, and world's youngest democracy was like busy with the election. So this was for a by-election capital city that dominated the conversation at dinners, even in Thimphu's most fun night spot, Moho Park. Bhutan has taken to democracy with ease ever since 2008, when the first proper elections were held, a process India has helped out with, sending officials from the Election Commission traveling to check arrangements, explain electronic voting machine technology and procedures. However, there are many things uniquely Bhutanese. So this was a by-election in the capital city. This was for a by-election in the capital city that dominated the conversation at dinners, even in Thimphu's most fun nights for Moho Park. So election was like all around there, and people at the dinner table also were like talking about election. And Thimphu's most fun night spot is Moho Park. There also people are talking about election. Bhutan has taken to democracy with these ever since 2008, when the first proper elections were held. A process India has helped out with, sending officials from the Election Commission traveling to check arrangements, external electronic voting machine technology procedures. However, there are many things uniquely Bhutanese. So India has helped out with sending officials from the Election Commission traveling to check arrangements, external electronic voting machine, technology and procedures. And now there are some things uniquely Bhutanese. So like what we can understand from this passage that there are election going on. It is in Thimphu. The most fun night spot is Moho Park. The Bhutan has taken the democracy with these ever since 2008. Now, how India has helped Bhutan in election. India has helped out with sending officials from the election commission travel to check arrangements, external electronic voting machine. However, there are many things uniquely Bhutanese. Now, what are the unique Bhutanese things? Let us see. So, I think in this passage, everything is properly understood. Now, there are some important words, that is democracy. Democracy is the only like unique word. Next paragraph. Monks and nuns in the deeply religious Buddhist majority are not allowed to vote, so as to avoid mixing religion and politics. So monks and nuns in the deeply religious Buddhist majority are not allowed to vote, so as to avoid mixing religion and politics. So they don't want to mix religion and politics because monks and nuns are generally associated with religion. All voters must wear the national dress on polling day, but no one candidate, campaigner, or voter is allowed to wear the cabinet silk or tag, scarf of honor for men and women respectively, bestowed only by the king. Patang, ceremonial sword or any other sign of rank or royal patronage to avoid a misuse of influence, and in defense to the environment, no posters can be put up by any public property, including trees, and are mostly restricted to a community billboard for all. Maybe a thing or two the world's largest democracy could learn from the youngest. So, what are the uniquely Bhutanese things? Monks and nuns are not allowed to vote as they don't want to mix politics with religion. Okay. Now, when there is a voting day, all the people must wear the national dress on polling day. So they have a national dress, all the people have to wear that. Suppose think about India, we don't wear, like we don't have any national dress, and we like everybody wear their own dress on polling day also. So but no one candidate, campaigner, or voter is allowed to wear the cabinet silk or gentak Patang was the but candidate who is the candidate, campaigner, or the voter is allowed to only these three people can be the candidate who is doing the campaign or the voter. They are allowed to wear the cabinet silk with gain tag, scarf of honor. What is gain tag? That is scarf of honor for men and women respectively restored by the king. So that is a scarf given by the king to men and women separately. Now, what is Patang ceremonial sword or any other sign of rank or royal patronage to avoid the misuse of influence? Now, nobody will wear all these things because if you wear any gantag, maybe people will think like king has given to you, so you have a special importance. So you cannot create that. So you cannot wear this tabli silk, gantag, and patang or any other sign of rank or royal patronage to avoid misuse of influence. So good arrangement. Every voter will be like treated samely in the same way. And in defense to the environment, no posters can be put up on any public property, including trees, and are mostly restricted to a community billboard for all. Maybe a thing or two, world's largest democracy could learn from the youngest. And see, like for environmental purpose, you cannot post anything on public property or upon the trees and or any community billboard. You cannot do that. So maybe a thing or two, the world's largest democracy could learn from the youngest. So youngest democracy is the Bhutan democracy, and largest democracy is India. So obviously we should learn something because in India there are so many discrimination between voters. There are influence. There are no one is obeying environmental things. So you can learn that. Okay. Royal Textiles. If you are in Thimphu, put the textile museum on your must-do list. The museum run by the Royal Textile Academy is the project of Ashi Sange Choren Wangchuk, one of the queen mothers of Bhutan. The, for, the former king had four queens, all sisters. Now, if you go to Thimphu, you have to visit Textile Museum, and it is a must-do list. The museum run by the Royal Textile Academy is a project of Ashi Sange Choren Wangchuk, who is one of the queen mothers of Bhutan. So the former king had four queens, no sister, all sisters. The museum is dedicated to preserving the oldest and rarest woven fabrics worn in Bhutan and used in their religious scrolls and thangas. So museum, what does the museum do? It is dedicated to preserve the oldest and rarest woven fabrics worn in Bhutan and used in their religious scrolls and thangas. So the Bhutan, what are the dress Bhutanese wear? The museum preserve that. As you walk in, it is a thongrel and massive silk work of the Zabdrung Panison Sokpa is the name of a person I cannot pronounce that. In honor of a sacred meal served to Bhutan's political and spiritual founder in 1637, the Gritsi. The thongrel stands 34 feet tall, running 23 feet across and is set against a glass window and runs 3 stories high. Another on your must-see list is the relatively new Taralakhang and Pangri Zampa Monastery on the outskirts of Thimphu. So there is also another 34-feet tall stand. There is also one monastery, Taralakhang Panjing Pangri Zampa Monastery. This is Bhutan's only monastery dedicated to 21 Taras, the female bodhisattva, and it is a powerful display of ancient feminism. So, which temple is it? Okay, what does it? Okay, let us highlight first. The museum is dedicated used in their religious scrolls and another on your must-see list is a relatively new Tara Lakhang. And Pangri Zampa Monastery on the outskirts. This is Bhutan's only monastery dedicated to 21 Taras. Now, who are the Taras? The female Bodhisattva, and it is a powerful display of ancient feminism. Compared to the rest of the subcontinent, women have the status more equal to men in Bhutan. Okay, so there is a ritual, not ritual like rule that women have more status and more equal to men. There isn't the obvious preference for the male child. Girls and boys go to school in equal numbers. So they don't not discriminate among boys and girls also. Boys and girls have same status and they go to school in equal numbers. Okay, now come to the next paragraph. Not so equal. While polygamy is practiced in some parts, so is polyandry and divorce settlements are equal and even-handed. Even so, Bhutanese women lag behind in one place, that is that it counts parliament. So there are you can polygamy, like people can marry several times. Uh, Also some other incidents like polyandry. Maybe like there women are also allowed to marry several times. Polyandry, and they also divorce. They give divorce also, and are equal and even handed. So these things are also there. Even so, Bhutanese women lag behind in one place, that is parliament. In the last National Assembly elections, 3/4 of the 47 seats had only the male candidates, 9 had females, and 4 women were elected as the MPs. Misogyny plays only one part of it, explains the only leader of a part who rules a hotel in downtown Thimphu. Women just don't vote for women, and the lack of women role models in modern Bhutan becomes a vicious cycle. So in parliament, they don't have so much role. Okay. Now, while Bhutan's government and people tell you they are devoted to preserving the country and its beauty, it is plain to see Bhutan is changing every day in little ways. So, less youngsters adhere to the traditional land, once mandatory national dress, Bo and Kira. More and more buildings now get permission to rise above the originally regulated two stories, and glass and granite is seen more in Thimphu, where once only wood and paint were allowed. This is the rules. You can only use wood and paint. Some modernities are welcome, and the abundance of hydropower electricity means many Bhutanese drive hybrid cars, including the very dashing US educated Prime Minister. This is the name. The countryside is still pristine and not covered with plastic waste, ubiquitous in India. Even in Bhutan Explore, more non-wood uses for a 70% forest cover. That is also mandated in the constitution. So there is, however, one place that doesn't change, and it is always my first stop when I land in Paro. So this is there is, however, one place that doesn't change, and it is always my first stop when learning for that is Kichu Lakhang. This is Bhutan's oldest and simplest monastery, believed to be constructed in 1659 CE by Tibetan king Song Songtsen, and has a link to the Jokhang temple in Lhasa. All year round, one is welcome to into Kichu with the spectacular and miraculous orange tree laden with fruit. It is here that you know the truth of Bhutan's tourism catchy slogan, happiness is a place. So this is Bhutan's tourism catchy slogan. Now you have understood, like in this passage we have talked about Bhutan's beauty, Bhutan's politics, Bhutan's culture, and what is the narrator's favorite place. What does the Bhutan do in their like building? What are their allowance? What are their restriction? Everything you got to know. Now let's go back to the question. So which of the following statement is correct regarding the 2008 elections of Bhutan? So to read four question option. So here you can see all are correct. You can see all are correct. Now number two, we is Ashi Sange Chodin as mentioned in the passage. So we is this person we have already discussed. We have so this is one of the queen mothers of Bhutan. Queen mother of Bhutan. Consider the following statements regarding the Moho Park. It is situated in Northeast India. Wrong. It is famous for its music shows. True. It is situated in the city of Thimphu. True. So 2 and 3 are correct. So number B. Okay. 4. Which of the following statement is correct as given in the passage? The number B is correct. Why was candidate, campaigner, or voter not allowed to wear any sign? To neglect misuse of influence. Consider the following statements regarding Kichulakang. Who is Kichulakang? Oldest and simplest monastery. Okay, so number 1 and 2 are correct. Number 8. Scrolls. What is the most similar word? Scrolls. Uh, I think none is correct. You can consult the dictionary to have a pocket dictionary. Choose the word which is most similar to the word printed bold outskirts means periphery. No, I think it should be away, not periphery. So we have discussed all the question. This way you have to do the reading comprehension part. You have to first read the passage and then understand, and then you have to answer the question. Okay. So we will conclude here. We'll again meet the next day with a new passage. Thank you.